Listen, if you're still here in part 3, then it's safe to say you just dedicated to this conversation, and I appreciate you. You understand? I appreciate you. That means you really rock with this channel. You understand? Some of y'all coming in the building, smash, hit the like button. I respect it. Right? So I don't have to bring you that up to speed on our conversation. By now you know that the scientists are kind of arguing with the politicians on the severity and the dangers of the use of cocaine. Also, in part 2, we learned that even the technique of using cocaine could give two people two totally different experiences. If you snort, then check this out. And maybe I am saying that word too much in the first 60 seconds, but we already started the video, so we got to keep on going. But check this out. If you sniff, you could get a milder experience versus if you are smoking. This is what the scientists have found out. This is what the scientists. Now we're going to listen to a scientist, and he had already started to say that he spoke to some colleagues, some other scientists in Bolivia, in Peru, that was telling him, yo, y'all don't even know what's going on down here. When they smoke the paste, it's leaving zombie apocalyptic vibes everywhere. Right? Now, this discussion is important because, before I tell you why it's important, let's do this. Because you guys see Rick Ross up there. Let's just do this. Let's take that. Hold up. My fault. Display. Alright, let's do this. Let me give some education, right? So you don't walk away. At least you walk away with some value from this video. You're giving me your time. I got to give you something in return. Knowledge. There was something called the GEO Group. The GEO Group is known for their involvement in private prisons. Founded in 1984 as Wackenhut Corrections Corporation, subsidiary of the private security firm Wackenhut Corporation, GEO Group's roots trace back to guarding government facilities and nuclear sites during the Cold War era. In the 1980s, as the U.S. began privatizing parts of the prison system, Wackenhut entered the corrections business, right? So they was already getting hyped up over our enslavement because they knew it was coming. The timing was critical. Mass incarceration policies were expanding rapidly due to the war on drugs, creating surging demand for prison capacity that state systems struggle to meet. Now, keep in mind, these are the same people that brought in, not Wackenhut themselves, but, you know, they was non-government organizations, NGOs, contractors for the government. Government is literally, CIA is literally bringing in the cocaine. You understand? From Wackenhut to GEO Group going global. In 2003, Wackenhut Corrections officially rebranded as the GEO Group, right? This is Shell Corporation's changing it. That whole game there. We're going to change the name. They on to us. Signaling a shift into a global corrections and detention services company. That's some initiative and ambition for you, huh? A global corrections and detention services company? You guys got to pay attention. One of the executive orders that Trump signed when he came into office was to claim that all gang members should be perceived as terrorists. Other countries had started to reach out to the United States and say, yo, we'll take all your criminals. If they work out a deal, do you really want to be caught selling crack or whatever you're doing out there in the United States and get sent to a third world country jail? I don't think you do. So you might want to start listening to something I say. I don't know what everybody else is. If they still out here pushing crime and glorifying these things, it's up to you. You like it, I love it. But you might, it's okay. I'm a let you know. You're not a sucker because you work at Best Buy, bro. It don't make you less than a man to be a garbage man. I was a garbage man twice, I think. Bus driver. There's plenty of good, for now, things you might be able to do. But we'll get into that conversation a little bit later. Anyway, the company expanded beyond traditional prisons into immigration detention. See what I'm saying? Secured major contracts with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. This is a business. I'm trying to warn you guys about slavery taken up to a whole nother level. This ain't about it being a real nigga. We far past that. So you can get that out your mind, Jack. Electronic monitoring expanded into surveillance-based supervision outside prison walls. Re-entry programs, community-based programs for individuals exiting incarceration. So they're gonna make money on your entry, and they're gonna make money on your exit. We have to get our shit together. Is what really needs to happen. We have to get our shit together. Geo Group grew into one of the world's largest private prison operators, alongside competitor Core Civic. Most of you guys that have been locked up, you are very familiar with Core Civic and the Core Craft uniforms and stuff. Benefiting from government outsourcing of incarceration and detention services. Policy, profit, the incentive debate. Critics argue stricter immigration enforcement, longer sentencing laws, and federal detention mandates fueled Geo Group's expansion, creating a controversial incentive structured where incarceration becomes tied to profit. Supporters argue private companies provide cost, efficiency, and flexibility that government-run facilities often lack, making them a practical solution for managing prison capacity. Let me tell you something, right? Let me just stop the conversation right there. I think one of the things that these private prisons may lack is a framework for a benchmark on how you're going to treat these human beings while they're in there, right? So they have a lower standard because they're trying to save money. So why am I going to build out more cells when I could just start fitting 4 people inside of a cell? Listen, you don't want to go to these places, man. Bottom line, you don't want to go to... These people are going to pay correctional officers less money. Do you think somebody's going to go in there for $17 and not one of them might be compromised? $17 an hour. And they may be able to make a few dollars here and there if they bring something in, this, that, and the third, right? Thus making the place a more dangerous place. It becomes Darwinism, right? Only survival of the fittest, only the strong survive. And it is prison. Don't get it wrong. You did something to be in there. I don't know if you did something to the point where you needed to be tortured for the entire time you was there. So what I'm getting at is the safety mechanisms may be a little bit looser when it comes to these private prisons. Let's knock it off with the stupid ass glorifying crime and rap. That has nothing to do with being able to put words together and inspire people. And I've heard two people that disappointed me that start talking that, well, you know, rap came from the streets anyway. Yes and no. Yes, but we weren't only rapping about fucking cocaine and killing each other, right? So when I see artists like Pete Rock and Lord Jamar, you may think that nobody's looking at you when you support utter fucking nonsense, but there are people looking at you, and it's like, yo, there's other rappers, there's other people out here pushing good music and that know how to actually play with words that truly symbolize hip hop. And for everyone to just garner attention or show attention to the guy who got shot or he was shooting and he's just a fucking troublemaker all around, like, let's give him the attention, because that's not our way. That's the way of someone else in another race who's trying to control another race, but they push that shit so they can glorify it so we can go to fucking jail, bro. They make money, we go to jail. I'm asking us not to participate in this type of behavior. I want to change the conversation. You understand? Regardless of perspective, GEO Group became deeply embedded in U.S. corrections infrastructure, operating dozens of facilities and managing tens of thousands of detainees. BlackRock enters the picture. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, became involved in GEO Group not as an operator but as an institutional investor. Like many large investment firms, BlackRock manages index funds, ETFs, and retirement portfolios that include shares of publicly traded companies across many sectors, including private prisons. BlackRock's investment into GEO Group have fluctuated over time depending on market conditions, fund allocations, and broader investment strategies. Passive investment and index inclusion. How it works. BlackRock's exposure to GEO Group primarily comes through passive investment vehicles, index funds tracking benchmarks like the Russell 2000 or other small to mid cap indexes. Automatic inclusion. Because GEO Group is publicly traded, stop right there. Anytime something is publicly traded, that means they have shareholders. Anytime you have a shareholder, that shareholder invests in your company because what? Because they want to make money, not because they want to lose money. This is called the return on investment. This is called an ROI. Most of the times, your business has a business plan that will show your potential investors or investors how exactly you're going to make this money back, and then your investors will make a decision based off of that assessment. However, when you're running a private prison, how can you guarantee that you're going to continue to get people in here? There has to be some type of unspoken promise, unmentioned, that hey, don't worry, we're going to get people in here and we're going to get more. We got our ways. You understand? So you can't say that we're fighting crime and yet you have private prisons out here that's saying, oh no, we're going to get them in here and we're building more prisons. So that tells you our projections and trajectories. Where are you getting this information from, bro? How do you know you're going to get so many people? And they are. Because it's rigged. Allegedly. I got to say allegedly. YouTube be on my heels. Right? There's people playing parts everywhere. There's businesses. Listen, black people, it's just you that got to wake up. You're stuck in the fucking 70s and 80s when we was heroin kingpins and coke kingpins. The days of the glory days. Forgetting that we were the same people who created the Black Wall Street before they destroyed it. If we did it once, we could do it again. But our minds are poisoned. We accept this toxicity. Y'all want to call people who sexually assault women and kill people in your community superheroes. This is madness. This is not Sparta. This is madness. And if I don't agree with you, then I'm not a real nigga. Then I'm forced to lay your silly ass down. And I got to contemplate that for 3 seconds. Like, damn, I didn't even want to do that to the old stupid Fulio. Fuck. Oh well. Got more Fulios to deal with. Can't lose sleep on one Fulio. Not a direct choice. BlackRock doesn't necessarily choose Geo Group in the traditional sense. It is often holds shares as part of a broader basket of companies designed to mirror the market. Public scrutiny and political pressure. Around 2019-2021, increasing political and social pressure mounted on the financial institutions to divest from private prisons. Some banks announced they would no longer finance private prison operators. BlackRock faced criticism from the activists and lawmakers who argued that large institutional investors indirectly support mass incarceration through capital allocation. Now, let's get to this. Let's get to the broader ecosystem. The Geo Group BlackRock connection reflects a broader dynamic. Large asset managers hold positions in controversial industries through their diversified investment funds, linking government policy. Okay, here's that unspoken. Here's I'm going to explain what you can't see, right? It's like a ghost. You know something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it because it is a system that links government, legislature, which is the people who write the laws, which is not your president at all. So I need you to take a little bit more time to educate yourself. This is going to be a congressman, right? These are going to be your representatives that if you vote, you send them to Congress and Washington. They're going to write laws with other people. These are your senators who can keep on running for Senate for a lifetime, while all you focusing on is the president, right? So this is government policy, also linked to corporate operations and global finance, right? So those corporations like Arista, like Bad Boy, like Def Jam, right? Media conglomerates, record labels, streaming services that put out, they can manipulate the numbers so they'll have more negativity than positivity. It's disproportionate, right? This is to influence a certain group of people. Usually they are younger. If we really care about our young people, we as adults, never mind the 40 being a new 30 and the 50 being a new 40, nigga, you're bugging. The 50 is the same 50 and the 40 is the same 40. And if you are any of that, you are now an elder in this community. Right? I don't care if you got Micah Mary jeans and you got some J1s or whatever you got on your feet. I don't care about none of that. You cannot dress yourself into a time rewind. You can't do that. Only you end up looking crazy because it doesn't match. And the young people looking like, yo, bro, don't you supposed to be looking a little bit different from me? Nigga, I am 22. You cannot dress like you're 22 if you are 50. Like, knock it off. Pavlovian conditioning. I'm going to give you something. We still got some minutes. We only at 19. Pavlovian conditioning in the music industry. Walk with your boy real quick. Pavlovian conditioning, developed by Ivan Pavlov, is a learning process where a stimulus becomes linked to a response through repetition. A neutral signal gets paired with a reward until the signal alone triggers the reaction. So, when we apply this to music, if the behaviors like aggression, drug use, or illegal activity are consistently presented along rewards like money. When you build up the big, D thing got $1 million when he got out of jail, right? That's the perfect example. He got $1 million soon as he got out of jail. They put $1 million, did this whole big press release, right? So this is what we're talking about. He was presented along a reward like money, status, admiration. Those elements become linked. The beat, visuals, artist image, and lifestyle all act as a stimuli. The perceived reward, respect, wealth, influence acts as a reinforcement, shaping how individuals interpret what leads to success. Give you another example. A guy I came into YouTube with, his name is China Brim. Shout out to China Brim. Shout out to his wife, Miss Miyagi. China Brim is bitter on the wilder side. But even though we argue and we go back and forth, he's told me, and other people have told me, you don't even know what to do with your YouTube channel. They never said I didn't have talent. They never said that. They said you don't know what you're doing. Why did they say that? They said that because all I had to do is what they was doing, which I felt was unhealthy. I couldn't do it. Right? It wasn't for me. It was more on the negative side. It wasn't for me. So I said, I'm not doing that. It's not that I didn't know what I was doing. On the contrary, I knew exactly what I was doing, which was I can't do that. So they felt like because I wasn't doing what led to YouTube success, which is the reason they have 50,000 followers now and 100 or whatever they got, and I was taking the longer road, that I didn't know what I was doing. But see, that's a trick. This is how they trick you, because these people follow science and you don't understand the science, right? We've gotten away from science. They didn't even want our rappers to really say words. Do remember that? Remember that? They just wanted us to mumble. So we got to understand the tricknology. Once associations are formed, behavior can follow the perceived pathway. If an individual acts on those associations and engages in illegal activity, they enter the legal system. So first there's the conditioned association, then there's the behavior. Next thing you know, there's the legal consequence. You're in there, you're trying to call it's $25 for 10 minutes, you understand? Everything is overpriced. Honey buns is $8 versus the 50 cent that you used to get them at the store. You could be home getting honey buns for 50 cent. Now you want me to put money on your books for an $8 honey bun. Knock it off, bro. Right? And who makes the money? Not you. Whacking Hut, Geo Group. These people. Right? So, nobody's a sucker because they don't want to just put themselves in a situation where they're going to get arrested and hauled off to slavery, because that's what it is. Because that's what it is, right? So when you got cats, they make good music. Rick Ross stole his name from Freeway Ricky Ross. He stole that name because he admired a man who sold drugs and became a millionaire. However, those millionaires were stripped from that man, and he was hauled off to prison for 20 years. Pablo Escobar, didn't he die in a gun battle against his government? He wasn't going out like that. These stories don't end well. So why we continue to praise these people? We continue to praise them because of the Pavlovian conditioning. People want out of this situation. They want to become famous. The record label wants you. As soon as you get signed, they're not going to tell you what to do if you can't figure it out. So if you're not walking in the door with your own audience who follows a demonic mindset, then you probably not the one for them. And you're going to have to, that's not saying you can't be an artist, but they want you to go build up your own situation. My name is Jamel Saladin. This is society. We study the past so that we understand the present, so that we know where we're going in the future. You understand? Do me a favor, hit the like button, and I love that hype button. Smash that joint right there. You understand? Now, when you come back, we're gonna finish the book and hear some more of what the scientists have to say about the effects of this cocaine. Yes. Peace out.